Hello, welcome to this week's coffee tasting. I'm James from Blending Room, and today we're going to be tasting a red Catuai from a farm called Santa Hedwirges in Brazil. Apologies for the pronunciation there, my Portuguese isn't entirely up to scratch. This is a natural process coffee, so that is a coffee that has had a certain degree of fermentation inside of the fruit, and the expectation is going to be a coffee that has a lot of body and possibly some of those sort of fermented fruit characteristics, but we'll see once we get into the tasting. I've done 4 roasts this week, and the first batch maybe didn't go quite as planned, so I'd be very interested to see how that performs on the cupping table, but roast 2, 3, and 4 absolutely refined it. So let's get into the tasting. As usual, I'm just going to have a very quick pass through each 4 of the cups. Each 4 of the cups represent 4 roasts that I've done. Right, so as expected, there's an awful lot of fruit character in this, but fruit character that isn't on that citric end of the spectrum. This is very much tropical fruits, muted some by the appearance of a dark chocolate finish, but brought together in the middle of the cup by some, we'll call it tropical booze. So let's think about dark, muscovado, rummy type drinks. So each 4 of the cups has a slightly different roast approach. Total roast times are between 10 minutes 45 and 11 minutes for those people who are particularly interested in that. The end temperatures are a little higher than I would usually do. The reason being is that with a natural process coffee and one that has grown at lower altitudes that I would usually roast, at this about 950, 975 meters above sea level, you tend to then get larger bean sizes. With that larger bean size, the temperature that you're applying throughout the roast just reacts a little bit differently. So the first cup may be pushed on a little bit longer than I would want a natural process Brazil to be roasting within. So by the time I got to the 4th batch, I'd refined that approach. What we can then expect is just this boozy fruits. There is a low acidity to it. There's some, but low enough that if you were brewing this as a filter coffee, the acidity in it is not something that would particularly lift the cup. You're going to be looking at a coffee in that particular brew method that is rounded and all about that sweetness. This coffee would excel as an espresso. I think it would just be fantastic. The reason being is there's just enough acidity in it to pep up the beginning of the brew. So as you sip the coffee, it's that little sparkle that you get in your mouth. This will have just enough to give you that tickle of acidity at the front, but then income will be all the sweetness and the body, everything that this coffee is fantastic for, and that long finish, the dark chocolate finish that this coffee is currently giving on my palate would be fantastic for that brew method. I'm definitely going to be brewing this as a full immersion. Full immersion brewing, what I mean by that is cafetiere or French press. There are other methods of brewing, but that's the most common. It's my favorite Sunday morning brew. It is the type of coffee that I enjoy, just sitting back, not thinking about the brew methods, getting coffee in, getting water in, and away I go. So in that instance, I want coffees that are relatively uncomplicated, lower in acidity to really emphasize that method of brewing, bring out the body that cafetiere is really fantastic at doing. So what can I say about this coffee just in a recap way? It is a natural process Brazil that is of low altitude, single cultivar, the red Catuai. Expect an awful lot of tropical fruits in the cup. There's tropical fruits on the nose as well. Those aren't in the fermented end of the spectrum, so for the few of you that don't like those boozy fruits, this isn't that coffee. It just has a very interesting tropical fruit complex. Expect lots of sweetness, lots of body. That's all to do with the low altitude, and one which has a very, very pleasing dark chocolate finish. This is going to be another versatile coffee. I tried to roast in this omni-roast way, so that's a way that is suitable for all methods of brewing. But for those of you who enjoy espresso, I think this is going to be the one for you. Certainly versus the few African coffees that I have released over the past few weeks, this coffee is going to be for an espresso lover. I'm really looking forward to releasing this coffee. It's an exceptional example of what Brazil coffees can do. I hope you enjoy.